Canada stretches like a whispered epic across the northern half of North America, a land of mythic landscapes and quiet resilience. With its 10 provinces and 3 territories, it is not just large in size but in spirit, holding within it a tapestry of cultures, stories, and natural marvels. To journey through Canada is to breathe deeply, not just the crisp air of its boreal forests and salt-laced coasts, but the profound silence of wilderness, the layered histories in cobblestone quarters, and the quiet hospitality of people who seem to draw strength from the land itself. A natural starting point lies on the eastern seaboard, where the Atlantic shapes both the geography and the identity of its provinces. Newfoundland and Labrador, jutting defiantly into the ocean, are places of storm-battered cliffs and salt-flecked villages. In St. John's, brightly painted row houses, affectionately called jellybean houses, hug the hills like a spontaneous art project overlooking the sea. The coastline beyond is punctuated with lighthouses and legends. Icebergs drift like ancient spirits, and puffins nest on cliffs, undisturbed by time. Just south, Nova Scotia offers both rugged beauty and maritime warmth. The Cabot Trail winds like ribbon through Cape Breton Highlands, where whales breach below and bald eagles trace the skies above. Fishermen here still pull their catch from cold waters with hands toughened by generations, offering lobster feasts served with stories and sea shanties. Travel westward, and Quebec unfurls as a land steeped in both elegance and defiance. In Quebec City, one walks not just streets but centuries, narrow alleys framed by stone walls, turreted buildings that recall an age of muskets and monarchies. French is not just spoken, it is lived, through sidewalk cafes where espresso clinks against saucers and conversations echo with warmth and wit. Montreal, meanwhile, balances old soul and modern pulse. Here, art galleries flourish beside smoky bagel bakeries, jazz filters through cobbled quarters, and festivals seem to bloom from concrete like wildflowers refusing restraint. The city feels improvisational yet grounded, as if constantly rewriting its symphony without losing the melody. Ontario introduces the political and economic heart of Canada, but its allure extends beyond bureaucratic corridors or banking towers. Toronto hums with multicultural dynamism, a city where languages meet like tributaries into a river of ceaseless reinvention. Chinatown, Little Italy, Greektown, and beyond, each enclave not a mere artifact, but a living, breathing heritage. Overhead, the CN Tower sketches a futuristic outline, while below, Lake Ontario laps quietly at shores busy with life. Yet even here, nature is never far. A short drive unveils Algonquin Provincial Park, where mist rises over glassy lakes, and moose wander unhurried past hikers mesmerized by silence. And then, of course, there is Niagara Falls, not simply a natural wonder but a sensory force. The roar is as much felt in the bones as heard in the ears, mist beating on lashes as rainbows flirt in the spray. To the prairies, often passed over in haste, Canada whispers its slowest, most enduring truths. Manitoba and Saskatchewan might appear as endless flatness to the untrained eye, but to linger is to uncover an emotional geography. Winnipeg stands at the convergence of the Red and Assiniboine rivers, a city of surprising creativity. The Canadian Museum for Human Rights rises like a modern cathedral, inviting difficult questions beneath a sky made deliberately open. Farther west, the landscape shifts in tone and texture. Saskatchewan's fields ripple gold with wheat, and its skies stretch wider than any map can convey. The quiet here is not absence but presence, the kind that teaches contemplation and endurance. Then come the Rockies, which rise from Alberta's soil like a hymn to permanence. Banff and Jasper National Parks are not simply postcard perfect, they are cathedrals of stone, snow, and sky. In winter, the mountains call skiers and snowboarders to their carved slopes. In summer, hikers trace turquoise lakes fed by glacial memory. Lake Louise, still and surreal, mirrors peaks so clearly one hesitates to disturb the surface. Calgary, a city born from prairie and industry, wears its cowboy heritage proudly, its annual stampede a celebration of grit and spectacle. Edmonton, further north, pulses with youthful energy and cold weather tenacity, its people as resilient as its deep winters demand. British Columbia, on the farthest western edge, holds a contrasting elegance, one foot in the Pacific, the other in the Alpine. Vancouver is where sea meets skyline, and forests crowd beside skyscrapers as though nature and urbanity struck a rare peace. The city brims with sushi bars, yoga studios, and mountain views, a lifestyle aspirational yet accessible. A ferry ride away, Vancouver Island invites a gentler pace. Victoria wears its colonial past with grace. Gardens bloom in manicured defiance of ocean wind, and afternoon tea is served not as novelty but as ritual. Yet even here, the wild insists. Rainforests drip with ancient moisture, and whales surface like punctuation marks on the sea's quiet story. For those willing to venture north, the territories rewrite the notion of remoteness. The Yukon evokes gold rush fantasies, but its deeper lure lies in the scale of silence, horizons uninterrupted and skies painted in aurora. In Whitehorse, dog sledding is not a gimmick but a way of life. The scent of wood smoke and the rhythm of snowshoes tether the soul to a different cadence. The Northwest Territories stretch even further, where Great Slave Lake spreads like an inland ocean, and Dean communities share traditions as enduring as the land itself. Nunavut, Canada's newest and most remote territory, invites profound humility. Inuit culture remains both rooted and evolving, offering lessons on survival, kinship, and reverence for the earth that are rare and necessary. Across the country, Indigenous heritage permeates the landscape, too often overlooked, yet fundamental. Totem poles watch over forests in Haida Gwaii, petroglyphs whisper from canyon walls, and powwows gather generations in vibrant reclamation of identity and pride. Canada's future cannot be divorced from these voices. To travel the country attentively is to witness this interwoven story, not just of colonizers and settlers, but of original stewards, still speaking and singing through land, language, and resilience. Canada offers no single story. It is a nation that resists summarization, defined more by multiplicity than uniformity. Its beauty is not loud or ostentatious, but vast, intricate, and patient. It rewards those who slow down, who watch snow fall into pine branches, who listen for the loon's call across a midnight lake, who hear echoes in the stillness. So travel here not to tick off sights, but to dwell in the quiet majesty of a place constantly in the process of becoming. Because in Canada, wonder is not a performance, it's a state of being.